you have an idea in your head and you want to research before you start doing anything else. For example, this is a design for a mural that I'm planning to do. This is my final drawing that I did. I have the Mayan pyramid, the Mayan calendar, jaguar, and a Mayan king, in a sense. Then I have their symbols that they use. To do that, before I did my final drawing, I did several things. I did a study first, a quick sketch in a sense. I had this idea. So I basically sketched my idea first. Same thing I showed you today. Same thing. It's a rough sketch. From there I decided, well, I'm going to do a Mayan king, the jaguar, the pyramid, the calendar. I need a reference. To do that, my base option was the internet. When I went into the internet, I got a few images. I got an image of the Mayan pyramid. I got their symbols that they use, their style of making the humans, and styles of making symbols for certain animals, objects, and so forth. The other thing I got reference for a jaguar. Having that, and having my basic concept, I started doing my final drawing, like so. So it's also very important to do research. It's like writing a paper. Before you start writing a paper, you have to research. Most of these artists that draw for comic books, for example, this is Jim Lee. This is Todd McFarlane, one of the top artists back in the 1990s. They're not as popular right now. Maybe Jim Lee it is, but they research. People sometimes pose for them for certain poses. They will look at buildings, they will look at clothing, how clothing flows, they will look at armor. They basically use reference to help them with their drawing. So again, research is an important key. Now let's begin. This is the drawing I did earlier today. I'm gonna go ahead and clean up a little bit, that way you can have a better understanding how to go about it. Okay, first thing first, I'm gonna go ahead and just clean up a little bit in here. I'm gonna just lightly take off a little bit in here. There's gonna be a lot of changes, but I'm just gonna do this small section here. I'm gonna get my final mechanical pen to make some adjustments. So I'm going to take this off. I'm not too happy with it. I'm going to go ahead and start here with his neck and so forth. Just going to define the line, and then from there I'm going to come back here. I'm looking at some of the old lines that I created and sharpen them out. Learning a little bit of anatomy will help you develop a better character. I will call this my second draft. Now, as I have that, I'm going to go ahead and come with my E-pen. This is the, and I'm going to start cleaning up a few lines. I'm going to go ahead and put a paper underneath because it's better for the support of the pen. And I'm just going to start darkening a few lines here and there. And make an adjustment here. I move this up a little bit more, out. I create a little bump there and then push it back in, like so. For this part of his fingers, I'm just going to go a little dark like so, and a few lines like that. Okay, now this area here is going to be my darkest here. So what I'm going to do first, I'm going to come with my purple or violet. And I'm just going to darken this area like so here. So this is where I'm going to add my pen. And marker. Now, obviously, this is too big for that area, so I'm going to switch to my smaller Sharpie. I'm going to come back and go over it like so. I'm just going to create a few lines like this. If you get a few comic books, you can see why some of the artists use lines. It helps enhance the value. Now, I'm not going to use pen over that. I'm just going to stick with the color pencil and the marker. So I'm going to come back here and I'm going to start adding violet. Like that, and then from there I'm going to go ahead and for his flesh color I'm going to be using, there's so many ways to create flesh. I'm going to go ahead and use these colors here. I'm going to use the orange, and I'm going to use a little yellow. I'm also going to use green for shadows. I'll put it over here. I don't need this color anymore, the violet, so I'll put it over here. And I'm going to add brown at the end. You never want to start with brown first. It all depends what you're looking for. I'll go ahead and put brown over here for later. And a dash of white and the cordless blender. First thing first, darkest area, I'm going to go ahead and start with the orange first. Very important you start at the bottom of the darkest. Up a little bit. I'm also going to use the orange value, come over here, start pushing it out to this area here. So it should be lighter here. Remember on the first and second component we talked about value when I showed you how to do the spear. If you use that concept of shading from dark to light, you can apply it to your drawing. I stop there. Come with the yellow. Go over it again and use the yellow. It starts blending the color. Over here. There are flesh color pencils out there, but most sets, like this one, that only come with 12 doesn't have it, so you basically have to know how to make it. So there's so many ways of making flesh. There's darker values, there's medium values, and there's lighter values. You can also add red instead of orange, and so forth. There's so many ways to make the flesh value. Doesn't necessarily have to be flesh, we can make them green, in a sense. Now I'm going to come with my white, I'm going to start making this lighter here. Going in circles, keeping the lines together, and so forth. Now I'm going to come with the cordless blender to blend my value. You don't want to keep adding white to it because it will change the color. Now, I'm going to come back with my pen and I'm going to start adding some shadows in here. I'm just slightly going over the paper. I'm going to get some scratch paper to release some of the ink. to this point. And I'm going to go ahead and add some brown to it. With my pen, and I'm sharpening my lines I created earlier. Like that. I'm also going to add some green for shadows. I'm going to start adding some green here. I only added the marker and pen for my darker values. I'm going to add green, I'm going to add some brown over the green. I'm going to come back with my cordless blender and just blend it out. Come back and start adding more value to this. And applying more pressure. I'm just going to add a little bit orange, not too much. And I'm going to add more brown to this. And I'm going to go ahead and blend it out. And I want this area here to be lighter, so I'm going to come with my white color pencil and push some of it out like this. Notice I don't do the whole thing, I just do the top part. And redarken my line at the top with my pen. Adding a shadow underneath here, adding more brown to this area, pushing this up more up, adding more white here,